Find out more about local and state results from this week's elections.
Florida faces yet another storm. What this means for residents.
And a coach's opinion on diversity within the MLB. We have the story.
Broadcasting live from the University of North Texas, this is ntTV News at Noon.
Thanks for joining us on ntTV News at Noon. I'm Sebastian Nava.
And I'm Avery Callens. The midterm election results for Texas are in, and for Denton, they have voted to pass a new ordinance.
Our live reporter Isabella Quintanilla is at the Denton Courthouse with more information on both. Isabella?
Thanks, guys. That's right. Midterm elections here in Texas are officially over, with Republicans maintaining their 28-year dominance over statewide races. The incumbents for governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general were all reelected this election season. Governor Greg Abbott beat his Democratic opponent Beto O'Rourke, getting 54.8% of the votes, while O'Rourke only got 43.8%. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick won re-election with 54% of the votes, and Attorney General Ken Paxton won with 53% of the votes. However, some Democrats did have some success this election season, winning 2 of 3 congressional seats up for grab in Texas. Democrat Henry Kohler won Texas's 28th district with 56.6% of the votes, and Democrat Vincent Gonzalez won the 45th district with 52.7% of the votes. Now here in Denton, voters passed Proposition B, which decriminalizes low-level possession of marijuana. This new ordinance means that here in Denton County, marijuana possession will be a low priority. City staff is now working to determine which parts of this new ordinance will be incorporated into Denton PD's policies, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. That's all I have for today. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Isabella. An issue many veterans showed interest in this election was about protection and care regarding burn pits. Burn pits are a form of waste disposal used overseas by American troops. This waste commonly includes aluminum cans, food wrappers, tires, and jet fuel, all of which is toxic to those around the burn site. Congress has passed the PACT Act for veterans impacted by burn pits, but will the VA be ready to help the millions exposed? CNN's Mike Valero has the story.
There were some soldiers that were just sitting there in that space with this toxic fume cloud over them for over a year. And now when I think about that, in retrospect, it's honestly horrifying.
Retired National Guard Captain Rafael Barbosa flew above the battlefields of Iraq and Afghanistan. Burn pits, he says, loomed in the background.
The burn pit exposure is the wild card. You might be young, but that exposure puts you into a high-risk category and all bets are off.
The fumes, Barbosa and his doctors say, led to stage 4 colon cancer. But this past summer, after stalling briefly in Congress, the PACT Act eventually passed. It's a new law expanding VA health care for veterans exposed to burn pits and other toxins.
How big a deal is the PACT Act for veterans?
Look, it's a big deal.
Dennis McDonough is the U.S. Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Right now, the VA is accepting burn pit claims, and in less than 2 months, the VA will start rolling out treatment.
January 1st, 2023, will the VA be ready for this influx of claims that are coming down the pike?
Yeah, so we will be ready. We've spent the last year hiring 2,000 new people. Those are 2,000 new VA staff to be in a position to work on those claims.
McDonough says he realizes the task is enormous, but he says for the VA, it's a matter of duty. He urges vets, survivors, and their family members to file claims at va.gov/PACT, even if their claims were denied in the past. Veterans are also asking if they seek burn pit benefits, like Barbosa did, will their existing care stay the same with no cuts whatsoever?
Yes, I can assure them that. They fought like hell to get the benefit that they have. We are not going to reopen your old claim, right? That is as it is.
In Washington, I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Tropical Storm Nicole has caused chaos across many southeastern states, impacting thousands of travel plans for those who want to take to the air.
More than 1,200 flights have been canceled Thursday, following an initial 900 canceled the day before. Many of these cancellations occurred Thursday when the storm struck down in Florida as a Category 1 hurricane. The hurricane has now weakened to a tropical storm, so those making plans for Florida should keep an eye on those weather conditions. But Tropical Storm Nicole has impacted more than just travel plans this weekend. CNN's Ivan Rodriguez has more on how the tropical storm has affected the state of Florida.
Furious hurricane-force winds striking Florida, life-threatening storm surge seeping into areas already hard hit by Hurricane Ian just 6 weeks ago. Nicole, the first hurricane in 40 years to strike the United States this late in the year, made landfall under the cover of darkness early Thursday morning.
We're already seeing, as others have already said, significant impacts both on our coastal areas and some of our inland areas. Sewell's Point is seeing a tremendous amount of flooding already. The island has seen overtopping of their dunes.
This is just very rapidly deteriorating right here.
High tides and coastal erosion are a major concern in Volusia County. Rising seawaters have begun to swallow this building on the beach, causing it to collapse. Volusia County officials say more than 20 homes are now unsafe to be in.
A lot of that erosion on the coastline, this has put some of those structures in jeopardy.
Now crews across the state are racing to restore power knocked out by Nicole's destructive winds.
This storm is very large. Even if the eye has passed over your area, it may still be unsafe to go outside due to the heavy winds, flash flooding, and isolated tornadoes.
In Jensen Beach, Florida, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
It's actually been a rough couple of months for Floridians, with each storm hitting back to back.
I fully agree, and we're really wishing for the best for Floridians during this time. But right now, in terms of North Texas, let's take a quick look at what's happening with the weather with Alec Rapp. Alec?
Thanks, Avery. We, of course, hope that things go well for the Floridians as Tropical Storm Nicole has already made landfall. But let's go ahead and take a look at the current conditions here in Denton. It is cloudy, 73 degrees, and it feels as such. It is windy out there, 15 miles per hour. And we're going to see some similar conditions as we move into tonight. Very similar temperatures. It is going to be 71 degrees. It's going to feel just a little bit warmer at 72. And then the wind is going to die down a little bit to 7 miles per hour. And then if you thought that warm weather was staying, unfortunately it is not. Tomorrow it is going to be stormy. 48 degrees around this time. It's going to feel a little bit cooler at 42 degrees, 18 miles per hour. So definitely make sure you have a rain jacket on you. But that's all from me. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Alec. Coming up, a new law could help you in your next job search.
And prepping for Thanksgiving might include a trip to the doctor. Stay with us for more.
Are you feeling okay? No, I've been feeling gross all week. Maybe you should go get a COVID test. But I already have all 3 of my shots. Yeah, but you can still get it. I mean, maybe you should go get one just in case. Yeah, you're right. We have that party and all that. Yeah. Where do I even get tested here? Let me check.
You can find free COVID testing sites at the University Union, room 381 on weekdays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., and on weekends, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., and at Chestnut Hall, room 120 from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. You have to show the QR code given to you when you arrive for an appointment. Tests take no longer than 10 minutes to complete. Results will be sent through text or email within the next 48 hours.
I got a negative COVID test. Me too. Oh my god, let's go to the party. Yes. Let's go.
Hey man, are you okay in there? You look terrible. Have you been up all night? Don't you know that according to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, staying up all night can have a negative effect on your GPA?
Sleep?
Yeah, go to bed.
So a man's been walking in the desert for days at a time. He finally comes across a bar and orders a Coke.
That's not funny.
Eh?
Meta has just made the largest employment cut in the company's history, beginning the layoff of 11,000 employees starting yesterday. This is in response to failing ad sales due to competition, such as TikTok and new privacy changes. Meta is now worth half of the trillions of dollars it was last year. CEO Mark Zuckerberg apologized for the reduction in a blog post.
A new law spreading across the country is now requiring employers to advertise salary along with job listings. CNN's Jen Sullivan has more in today's Consumer Watch.
Job hunting is getting a major upgrade. New laws are requiring employers to show pay ranges on job listings aimed at improving pay transparency.
This is huge. It should go further. It should be all jobs.
New York City is now requiring companies with 4 employees or more to show the money up front, listing the salary or hourly wage range for any job posting or promotion that can be performed in NYC. Meaning even if it's a remote job, employers must comply. Civil rights attorney Nancy Smith says wage transparency is a major step toward closing the wage pay gap in the U.S. and says the change will impact women and people of color the most.
94% of jobs have a wage pay gap. And still, in 2022, women make 83 cents on the dollar.
Colorado put a law like this on the books last year, and in California, a similar law goes into effect on January 1st for employers with at least 15 employees. Experts say the new laws will be far-reaching since they affect 2 of the most populous areas in the U.S., which have many remote workers. Experts saying existing employees will be able to use the laws as a bargaining tool and advocate for themselves if they're underpaid.
It's an inspiring time to look at the candidate behavior, and I think it's a frightening time for employers because many are not prepared for that power shift.
Meanwhile, a few other states like Rhode Island and Maryland have legislation that requires employers to provide salary ranges upon request. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
You know, on the way in, I noticed it's way too warm outside for us to be in fall.
I agree, but I think that's about to change. Let's see what we have in our full weather report with Alec Rapp. Alec?
That weather is certainly going to change, but first let's go ahead and take a look across North Texas. As you can see, we're all around in the 70s. The high in the area is up in Paris, 75 degrees. The low 70 in Gainesville, 73 here in Denton. Also down in Fort Worth, and then 71 degrees in Dallas, so just a little cooler there. But let's go ahead and take a look across the region and across the state. Kind of all over the place here. We've got a high of 80 down in Houston. Austin seeing some similar temperatures at 78 degrees. Up in Oklahoma City at 67 degrees. We have some very nice weather out in El Paso. And then the coolest temperature in the region up in Amarillo, 56 degrees, so a lot cooler than that 80-degree temperature down in Houston and Avery. As you mentioned, that weather is going to change. So let's go ahead and look at the next 7 days here in Denton, Texas. As I mentioned, tomorrow it's a high of 51. There's a 36% chance of rain. That's going to be coming in that 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. window. So if you're out and about, make sure you have a rain jacket or an umbrella because it might rain. You definitely want to be safe there. And then Saturday and Sunday, 53 and 54 degrees. And then Monday, if you don't have that umbrella tomorrow, you're going to need it. Monday, 90% chance of rain. The coolest temperature over the next week at 45 degrees. And then on Tuesday, just going to go back up a little bit to 49. And then Wednesday and Thursday, we move back into the 50s, 51 degrees on Wednesday and 50 on Thursday. That's all for me. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Alec. As the numbers of Americans with anxiety continues to rise, there is now a way to treat it without medication. This is thanks to 2 new methods of therapy called mindfulness-based cognitive therapy and mindfulness-based stress reduction. These methods come from a 300-person clinical trial reviewed and published Wednesday in a study titled JAMA Psychiatry Trusted Source. Limitations to the study included the fact that most of the participants were female and were recruited from only 3 different medical centers. Researchers are unsure as if these methods actually reduce anxiety.
Health officials are encouraging Americans to get a COVID-19 booster before the holiday season. Officials are issuing warnings about a spike in respiratory illnesses in the last 2 months of the year. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention reports less than 10% of people across the nation have updated their vaccination status. Government officials are also running warnings for a spike in the flu in some areas of the country. So in between the Thanksgiving turkeys and the Christmas tamales, the CDC will stress the importance of booster shots. Coming up, a look at how a local coach views diversity in the MLB.
And a look at entertainment news. We'll be right back.
Has the weight of stress and anxiety ever felt too heavy to overcome? Wish there was a safe place to confide in? Wish granted. At UNT, we offer counseling and testing services to students located on the 3rd floor of Chestnut Hall. UNT, we're here for you.
There's an exciting new Black Panther film coming out this weekend and in December, an emotional biopic about singer Whitney Houston. Reporter David Daniel has more.
Common criticism of you, your music isn't black enough.
Well, who said that? That's just bull. And it makes me angry, actually. It's hateful and uninformed. My whole life, she ain't black enough, she ain't white enough. Well, how about she's not obedient enough? How about she ain't fearful enough?
Here's the latest look at Naomi Ackie as Whitney Houston in I Wanna Dance with Somebody. The musical biopic about the iconic performer gets so emotional in theaters December 23rd.
In this great future, you can't forget your past. So dry your tears, I say.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever celebrates the traditions and strengths of different cultures. Cast member Lupita Nyong'o says she hopes audiences will connect with that diversity.
It's always good to be able to relate to people who do not look like you and to see your humanity in them. And so we need to delight in our differences. Homogeny is so boring, you know, so our diversity is our strength as human beings.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever opens in theaters Friday. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Athletic apparel giant Adidas will continue selling Yeezy designs, only without Yeezy. The move comes after the brand cut ties with Ye, who's formerly known as Kanye West, after continuous anti-Semitic comments last month. Adidas, however, still holds the rights to designs and plans on selling them under the Adidas branding. Reports say that not using the Yeezy brand name will save the company over $300 million in fees. Critics of the move say that while they aren't specifically using the Yeezy name, they're still giving Ye a platform. According to Morgan Stanley, Yeezy products brought in over $2 billion in revenue.
This magnificent beauty of a tree we are about to see is going to be the star of Rockefeller Center in New York. It was cut down today and will be transferred this Saturday, where it will proudly stand 82 feet tall. The tree was donated by a local New York family and is planned to be lit at the end of the month.
According to some, Major League Baseball has experienced a major diversity problem. Recently, I got the chance to find out how much it can impact the future of the sport.
There goes the runner, fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes up.
America's national pastime
This time they finish the job. The Houston Astros, world champions.
has left out a big part of America. This year's World Series was the first since 1950 to not feature a U.S.-born black player on either team's roster. Houston Astros manager Dusty Baker, one of only 2 black managers in the MLB, displayed his disappointment in the lack of representation on the sport's biggest stage, stating, quote, "I don't think that that's something that baseball should really be proud of." Baker went on to say, quote, "It looks bad. It lets people know that it didn't take a year or even a decade to get to this point." According to a study released by the Institute for Diversity and Ethics in Sports at the University of Central Florida, only 7.2% of players on 2022 MLB opening day rosters were black, the lowest percentage since the Institute began analyzing the data in 1991.
I'm not surprised by that percentage because it's been like that for years now.
Coach Taylor is a coach at the Texas Rangers Youth Academy in West Dallas, a program dedicated to reviving baseball in inner cities.
Just trying to give kids that's underserved in the game of baseball an opportunity to play the game for free.
Despite all the setbacks faced by young black baseball players, signs of opportunity are beginning to show. The 2022 MLB draft saw 9 black players drafted in the first round, including 4 black players in the first 5 picks.
I think it's looking up, but it's slow. It's very slow. Very slow.
Reporting for ntTV, I'm Sebastian Nava. In baseball, because growing up I played baseball, and seeing all the different backgrounds, all the mix of players, that's what made the game fun.
I can imagine you feeling that way, playing basketball at such a young age, and just really having a sense of community about how it affects everyone. So let's go ahead and toss it to our sports anchor Gabby Pippins to see how she feels about this issue. Gabby?
I agree. I think it's great to bring more awareness to the diversity in the MLB. But now up next, we will have questions discussing how the Mavs season has been going, the start of UNT men's basketball, and how sports are expanding to the table after this.
Live from UNT, it's Wheel of Culture.
Welcome back to Wheel of Culture. Our contestant is so close to solving this puzzle. But first, it's time to give the wheel a spin. Wow, you landed on London, one of the many places where you and your fellow students can go on a chance to experience new culture. But only if you can solve this puzzle.
I'd like to solve the puzzle. Study abroad.
That's correct. You just won yourself a trip to study abroad in London, England, and you can too. Just go to studyabroad.unt.edu to see deadlines and apply for scholarships. Get ready to study abroad.
The Dallas Mavericks have had an interesting season so far with their new and improved roster. They're currently 6-4 with their most recent game being against the Orlando Magic in Florida. Now, this game started off strong with the Mavs keeping the lead in each quarter, but the fourth quarter presented a challenge. Caleb Houston scored a jumper to take the lead, and the Magic never looked back. Now, Luka and the Mavs weren't able to regain control, ending the game 87-94. Now, more importantly, Luka Doncic also broke his 30-game score streak as he only scored 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists, while Spencer Dinwiddie was the star of this game with 29 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. Now, let's hope the Mavs can bounce back in time for their next game against the Washington Wizards tonight. Also, the start of college basketball is finally here. Teams across the country kicked off NCAA men's preseason basketball on Monday, and our own UNT Mean Green took on Southern Nazarene here at the Super Pit. Tyler Perry is still recuperating from an injury, so he was unable to start the game, which ended up opening the court up for other star players. Now, things did start off tough as SNU did not hold back. The first half ended with them holding the lead, but after coming back from the half, Abu Osman and Kai Huntsberry connected to take control of the game and in the game 53-47. Osman ended with 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 1 assist, while Huntsberry ended with 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. Now, this is a great start to the Mean Greens basketball season, and fans cannot wait to see more from their team. And finally, sports are now beginning to open up to other areas outside of the court or field here at UNT. And I was able to personally speak with a dedicated group of people who are finding a unique way to bring sports to the table. Although the major sports here at UNT are contact like football and basketball, there is no specific mold for sports. In fact, many believe that any competitive activity can be classified as a sport. The Media Library, located in Chilton Hall, honors this classification by celebrating board games on the first Wednesday of each month with tabletop games.
So Tabletop Time is our tabletop event where we're showcasing games that we have in the Media Library, and we have a very large collection. So we wanted to bring students in to play something that they're not usually playing, and these games are sometimes more involved. We have a fun game. Tonight we're playing Fireball Island, which is sort of a fun game where fireballs are rolling down the island. And then some months we'll play horror games. Other months we'll play role-playing games, deduction games, cooperative games.
These board games have been bringing students together throughout the semester, and students such as Stephen Bassi, a freshman here at UNT, appreciate the tabletop games' monthly dedication.
So I found out about tabletop games due to a friend, and I love coming here because I just love playing the games. It's really fun. I make new friends and everything like that, and yeah, I enjoy it.
This month's theme was travel to go hand in hand with the homecoming theme, but be sure to join the tabletop games on Wednesday, December 7th from 2 to 6 p.m. in the Media Library in Chilton Hall to participate in holiday-themed fun. That's all I've got for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Gabby. Today we are celebrating one of America's favorite classic desserts, vanilla cupcakes. Today is the National Vanilla Cupcake Day, earning their name from being originally baked in heavy pottery cups.
Well, did you know that these vanilla cupcakes actually came from the Aztecas, and they've been actually popular ever since around the 18th century. And they made it in a cookbook around 100 years later, and now we know and love them today.
Wow, who knew vanilla cupcakes had such a rich history? And I know you're not the biggest on the vanilla cupcakes, but I cannot wait to devour this.
All right, well, cheers and happy Vanilla Cupcake Day.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us here at ntTV News at Noon.
Join us again here tonight at 6 on North Texas Television.